Soil formation is a beautiful process. It takes 100 to 1000 years for the formation of soil, and the factors involved in the formation of soil are parent rocks, climate, vegetation, animals, and microscopic organisms. Parent rocks refer to the original rocks from which the soils are formed. If the original rock is basalt, the soil formed is black soil. If the original rock is ancient crystalline metamorphic rock, the soil formed is red soil. If the original rock is laterite, the soil formed is lateritic soil. Now these rocks are subjected to weathering. It means softening and breaking down of rocks. Now this happens due to the influence of climate. And every day, due to the heat of the sun, the temperature rises and the rocks expand, and at night time the rocks contract. Now due to regular expansion and contraction of rocks, they break up into small sediments. Sometimes the rocks break down because they are in contact with water. Lime and silica in the soil reacts with water and they are extracted out of the rocks. The rocks finally become weak and they break. When the leaves from the tree complete their cycle, they fall down and decompose and finally become one with the soil. The animals excrete when they die and they too decompose and become one with the soil. The dead remains of plants and animals is known as humus. It adds to the fertility of the soil and makes it sticky. Earthworms, ants, termites, microscopic organisms mix up with the soil as they burrow, significantly affecting soil formation. In this video, we are going to learn about 8 different types of soils, and they are alluvial soil, black soil, red soil, laterite soil, mountain soil, arid soil, peat soil, saline and alkaline soil. To begin with, alluvial soil. Now these soils occupy 40% of the land area in India. Alluvial soil is formed by the depositional work of the rivers, and that is why they are known as riverine soil. And these soils are found in the river basins and the deltas. When I say river basin refers to an area covered by the main river and its tributaries. And when I say delta, it refers to the triangular shaped land between the distributaries of different rivers. The color of the alluvial soil can be grey, light brown or yellowish. Now these soils are very rich in chemicals like potash, phosphoric acid, lime and carbon compounds. But at the same time, they are deficient in nitrogen and humus. And when I say humus, I refer to the dead remains of plants and animals which decompose. Alluvial soil is rich in clay, and if the clay content is more, water retaining ability of the soil is also high. They are ideal for the growth of crops like sugarcane, paddy, wheat and other cereal and pulse crops. Due to its high fertility, regions of alluvial soils are intensively cultivated and densely populated. The entire northern plains are made up of these soils and they are known as inland alluvium. Now it extends from Sindh in Pakistan up to Bangladesh. These soils are also predominant in deltas known as deltaic alluvium. So it is found in the deltas formed by the rivers such as Ganga, Brahmaputra, that is Sundarban Delta. Then other important rivers forming delta are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. Now in all these deltas, we will find deposition of alluvial soil. Then they are also found in the coastal plains of the country. On the basis of its age, alluvial soils is of two types and they are Khadar and Bhangar. Khadar is light in color and is composed of newer deposits, whereas Bhangar refers to the older alluvium and it is composed of lime nodules or kankad, and it has a clayey composition. Now Khadar is more fertile than Bhangar soils because new layers are deposited year after year during monsoon. Crops can be grown on old alluvium soil also, but that is after using manure. Soils in the drier areas are more alkaline and can be more productive after proper treatment and irrigation. In the upper reaches of the river valleys, the soils are coarse. Such soils are predominant in the Piedmont Plains. When I say Piedmont Plains, it refers to an area of land formed or lying at the foot of a mountain or mountain range. In the lower reaches of the river valley, the soil particles become smaller and more uniform. It is suitable for the growth of large variety of rabi as well as kharif crops, that is winter as well as the summer or we call monsoon crops. In the lower Ganga Brahmaputra valley, they are useful for jute cultivation. Now alluvial soil is found in the states of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal and the Brahmaputra valley of Assam, and then it is found in the coastal plains of India. Next one is the black soil. This soil is formed by the weathering of basalt rocks. This soil is the residual soil because it is formed at the place of its origin over the underlying rocks. It is dark in color and it is suitable for cotton cultivation. So it is also known as the Regur soil or the black cotton soil. The Regur soils are concentrated over the Deccan lava tract, which includes parts of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. We can find Regur soil even in some parts of Rajasthan. This soil has a high proportion of Limca P, that is lime, iron, magnesium, calcium carbonate and potash, and it is deficient in No-P, that is nitrogen, organic matter and phosphorus. Then it is red soil. Red soil is formed from ancient crystalline metamorphic rocks of the Peninsular Plateau. Under prolonged weathering by rainfall, these rocks break up to form these soils. These soils differ from place to place. They are red in color as they contain large amount of iron oxides. At several places, their color slightly changes as they appear brown or grey. It looks yellow when it occurs in a hydrated form. This soil is mainly found on the plateau regions of the peninsular India. Red soil covers the states of Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and the northeastern states. Actually, if you look at it carefully, they practically encircle the entire black soil region on all sides. They extend northward in the west and along the Konkan coast of Maharashtra. So if you look at the characteristics of red soil, it is porous and it has high percentage of iron oxides. It is generally shallow and its pH value range from 6.6 to 8. It is poor in nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and organic matter. It is not fertile but responds to fertilizers. It needs irrigation supports for cultivation. It contains soluble salts in small quantities. Next one is the laterite soil. Laterite soil is formed by the weathering of lateritic rocks. It is found in regions of heavy rainfall with alternating wet and dry periods. Due to heavy rainfall, lime and silica are leached out of the rocks. That is, they are extracted out of the rocks, leaving behind high content of iron oxides and aluminium. Finally, what is left out disintegrates, that is, it is subjected to weathering and what we get is lateritic soil. Now these soils are of two types. One we call it as upland laterites and other one is lowland laterites based on their locations. So even this soil is red in color with a high content of iron oxides. It is poor in nitrogen, lime and rich in iron. It is of a coarse texture, soft as well as friable. When I say friable, that is the soil is loose. Well, it is loose because it has very low content of clay. Whereas we have seen that alluvial soil and black soil have high content of clay. Laterite soils have low fertility because of high acidity and low moisture retention. Manuring and other activities are required to make them suitable for growing crops. Now, crops that are grown on lower elevations are mainly paddy, whereas the crops that are grown on higher elevations are rubber, cinchona and tea plantations. Coming to the next soil, and that is arid soils. These soils are derived from the disintegration of adjacent rocks and are largely blown from coastal regions and Indus Valley. Arid soils are characteristically developed in western Rajasthan, which exhibit characteristic arid topography. Arid soils range from red to brown in color. Now, they are generally sandy to gravelly in texture and have a high percentage of soluble salts. These soils are saline in nature. In some areas, the salt content is so high that common salt is obtained by evaporating the saline water. Due to the dry climate, high temperature and accelerated evaporation, they lack moisture as well as humus. These soils are deficient in nitrogen and humus. The phosphate and iron content is normal, which is good for the soil. These soils are rich in minerals, but the main limitation is lack of water. The soils exhibit poorly developed horizons. Plants are widely spaced and chemical weathering in these regions is limited. Lower horizons of soils are occupied by conquered layer because of the increasing calcium content downwards. Now the conquered layer formation in the bottom horizon restrict the infiltration of water. As such, when irrigation is made available, the soil moisture is readily available for a sustainable plant growth. So we can say that this layer of calcium plays a very important role in retaining the water. Going ahead with the next soil, and that is mountain soil. Mountain soils are found in the valleys and hill slopes. These soils occupy about 8% of the total land area of India. They are formed due to mechanical weathering caused by snow, rain, temperature variations. Now, soil formation is quite slow in mountainous areas. This is because of the low temperatures, and so mountainous soils are comparatively thin and are badly anchored. These soils are generally shallow in depth, and that is why they are known as immature soil, because the soil formation is not complete. These soils are heterogeneous in nature and their character changes with parent rocks and climate. Now, these soils are very rich in humus but are deficient in potash, nitrogen, phosphorus and lime. The slopes are used for horticulture and plantation crops like tea, coffee, spices, apple, peach, etc. Rice and wheat are grown in valleys. Potatoes are grown in mostly all areas. These mountain soils are found in hilly regions of Jammu and Kashmir, Sikkim, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. Next soil is the peaty soil. These soils are locally called Kari in Kottayam and Allipai districts of Kerala. These soils are marshy soils and are a result of waterlogging and anaerobic conditions. Now, this leads to partial decomposition of organic matter. They are found in areas of heavy rainfall, high humidity, where there is a good growth of vegetation. It occurs widely in the narrow part of Bihar, the southern part of Uttaranchal, and the coastal areas of West Bengal, Odisha, and Tamil Nadu. These soils are normally heavy and black in color. These soils are characterized by a rich humus and organic content. There is a presence of iron and varying amount of organic matter. The organic matter in these soils may even go up to 40%. These soils are generally acidic in nature, but at many places they are alkaline also. These soils are generally submerged during the rainy season and are utilized for the cultivation of rice. Because rice as a crop in the initial stage requires standing water. Finally, we come to saline and alkaline soils. Saline soils usually have a surface crust of white salts, especially in the season when the net movement of soil moisture is upward. Salts dissolved in the soil water moves up to the surface, where they are left as a crust when the water evaporates. There are many undecomposed rock and mineral fragments which over weathering liberate sodium, magnesium and calcium salts and sulfurous acid. Some of the salts are transported in solution by the rivers, which percolate in the subsoils of the plains. In canal irrigated areas and in areas of high subsoil water table, the salts are transferred from below to the topsoil by the capillary action. That is, they rise up along the gap as a result of evaporation in dry season. The accumulation of these salts make the soil infertile and renders it unfit for agriculture. Alkaline soils are clay soils with high pH value. That is, its pH value is more than 8.5. A poor soil structure and a low infiltration capacity. Often they have a hard calcareous layer of 0.5 to 1 meter depth. So if a layer of calcium develops in the subsoil, it does not allow the penetration of water. So in such areas, the groundwater level is badly affected. In such soils, agriculture is possible, but only after treating the soil.